Welcome everybody. We are ProBeta Training and we are excited to bring you our CPD reporting platform. CPD reporting has been revamped from the 1st of January 2020 by the professional bodies in South Africa. We now have 3 phases that we need to consider and document our CPD activity over, being the planning phase, the action phase, and the reflection phase. So through this little demonstration video, we're going to show you how to be compliant in terms of addressing all 3 phases in terms of the new CPD reporting policy in South Africa. Process starts off by registering a profile. You'll be greeted by an alert. The alert basically says you need to have a ProBeta debtor account. If you have one or otherwise do not have one, click on the continue to debtor login where you can apply for a debtor account number. Once you have that number, you can then commence with logging into your profile and creating your annual plan. Click on log into profile, furnish your South African ID number or otherwise passport number and the password that you had set during your initial registration. All the relevant detail will be sent to you via email after you do your registration. There'll also be a token that is sent to you which will then validate your registration, and all of that information would then be used as part of your login. You're then greeted with a screen that is entitled Record of Year Reports. As you can see, I have several reports for all of the years. We're going to add a brand new report by clicking on the Add Year Report. Select the date of the year report, and then you need to furnish the detail to do with your current work situation, your current job role. So specify your role, your management level, the number of years in the position, and your current responsibilities, high level. Then we need to apply our mind and think, what are the current gaps in terms of my professionalism, or otherwise my technical knowledge? Or is there anything in terms of ethics that I'd like to work on? The idea here is not to overthink. As we navigate through the process, ProBeta's reporting tool does give you many suggestions in terms of topics that you can work on. Once you've completed your your current gaps, then you can add detail to do with any other secondary roles that you have or other job positions. And then you need to apply your mind and think to the future. Where do you see yourself in the next 12 months and beyond that? And you would then need to go and furnish the relevant detail. Once you have completed that, click on Save Changes. If you'd like to revise any of the information that you've just provided, click on the Edit Details button, and then you can click on Create or Update Plan to set up your plan. If you click on the drop-down that reads How to Complete, that will give you guidance in terms of how to run through the process. It gives you an overview of the process as well as all the steps to complete through the 3 phases: planning, action, and reflection. We'll start this process off by clicking on adding a learning area, and that then allows you to specify a competency area. So what is it that you'd want to work on in terms of your competence? Is it professional skills, ethics, or technical knowledge? You then need to refine your development need a little bit further by choosing a specific category from the available options, be that accounting, caseware, draftworks, FICA, IFRS, income tax, labor law, SAICA, or any of the other topics. If none of those tickle your fancy, click on Other and then specify a specific category of choice. Once you've made your selection, click on Save Changes and take note that the selections pull through. So technical knowledge as your competency area as well as the category of your choice. You'll then click on Show More and commence with adding a topic. So we need to go one step further and specify a particular topic. These topics are linked to ProBeta's training offering. So the courses that ProBeta Training offers. Once you've made your selection, you will then need to specify how you have determined that this is a valid area of need in terms of your development. The options you have available are complete a formal self-assessment, which is handy in terms of ProBeta's CPD reporting tool and unique because it allows you to do a self-assessment on the spot at no cost. This is helpful because it proves to the professional bodies that you have applied your mind in terms of where your development needs are. Take note, not all topics have the complete a formal self-assessment option, and in that case, you would then specify one of the other sources that give evidence that this is a valid need for development, and you would select accordingly. Once you've completed that, click on Save Changes. Then we'll click on Show More. And as you can see, based on the topic we've chosen, we are now greeted with planning phase, action phase, and reflective phase. for the very topic we've chosen. What's important to notice is the status we're in. Currently, we're in planning in progress, and the goal is to reach completion. Earlier, we specified how we plan to determine what our current level of competence is on the topic of choice, and we've chosen to complete a formal self-assessment. You'll proceed with that by clicking on Complete Assessment, and you'll be greeted by the screen that's entitled Self-Assessment. The grading suggestion is as follows. If you achieve a score of 80% or more, then the suggestion is that you don't require any more time on this topic. If you achieve a score of less than 80%, then it is suggested that you spend time learning about this topic. Start the assessment off by clicking on Start Assessment. Carry on by completing all of the questions. And as you round off your attempt at the self-assessment, you will then receive a score. And the score needs to be analyzed in relation to the suggested guideline in terms of the grading score. And that would then be an indicator of whether you need to spend time developing on this topic. Once you've completed this assessment, you'll click on Leave Assessment and return to the planning phase, wherein which we will respond to the question that reads further development required, yes, based on the suggested guideline of 80%, and then we'll move into the action phase and specify a plan of action to address this development need. How would one do that? There's several options in terms of how you address a development need, several activities, one of which is through ProBeta's training offering. You can then log out of the CPD reporting tool, go and book a session on the ProBeta training website, and once you've attended the course, you'll return to the reporting tool and complete the remaining sections, being your action phase as well as the reflective phase. Also take note that all courses that are done with ProBeta or with an external provider can be recorded under the Record or Manage Attended Courses button. If you navigate down the screen, you can see all of the questions that you got right or got wrong. We will then leave the assessment. Once the screen loads, we'll click on Show More. As you'll see, we've now reached the final part of planning phase, development required. Based on the grading suggestion, we will conclude that development is required by answering yes. Then we move into the action phase, and we need to now specify the activity we'll undertake to work on this development need. We have options in terms of following an academic program, attending a conference, doing an e-learning, doing mentoring, on-the-job learning, attending a public course, a virtual classroom, training session, or finally, a webinar, amongst others. We will then specify and click on Save Changes. Click on Show More, navigate to the far side, take note of the status change. It now reads Taking Action. So what you'll do is you will go and attend a course or undertake the activity that you've specified during the action phase. If you have booked a training course, you can then go and record that information by clicking on the Record Manage Attended Courses button. As mentioned, all courses done through ProBeta training will automatically populate in terms of your CPD hours as well as the post-assessment score. If you've attended a training course through any external provider, you can then go and furnish all of that detail too. We now need to complete the action phase after we've actually undertaken that activity by clicking on Update under Activity Complete and specifying yes or no if we've completed the activity that we've specified, and then we'll click on Save Changes. Once we've done that, we'll click on Show More and take note of the status change. We are now in the final phase of our CPD plan for this specific topic. We have 3 questions under this final phase, the reflective phase that is. Learning needs, were they addressed? Did we apply these skills in the workplace? And did we identify anything else that we can work on potentially in a future period? Click on Update under the first question to commence with answering the reflective phase. Were your learning needs addressed? You need to decide yes or no. Regardless of your answer, you need to provide sufficient detail. We've concluded that yes, our learning needs are addressed because we took action to attend a webinar and we passed a post-assessment. Did we apply our skills in the workplace? Yes, we have spent time teaching our colleagues about the topic that we spent time learning about. And then finally, did we identify anything else? Click yes or no and provide an appropriate reason. And then click Save Changes. Clicking on Show More, navigating to the far side, as you can see, we have status that still reads complete, with a status date being the sign-off date that reflects when the status was updated. On the other hand, if your learning needs were not addressed, we would then need to click on the column Learning Needs Addressed on the link there under and go and specify no to the question, were your learning needs addressed? So for example, we attended a webinar and we unfortunately failed a post-assessment, and we've come to the subjective conclusion that our learning needs were not addressed appropriately. Take note of the status change. We are now complete. However, it is suggested that we work on this topic next year. Once you've completed your CPD plan for the year, you then click on Request Report to create a PDF copy of all of your CPD activity for the year. In the event that you'd like to unsubscribe, click on Account at the top, navigate to unsubscribe, and confirm your deregistration by clicking on Cancel My Subscription. We have reached the end of our demonstration video. Thank you so much for your time. You've been lovely. Have a beautiful day. Goodbye.